moving abroad isn't just for the rich or the retired. It's for people with a plan. And if you don't yet have a plan for moving abroad, in this video, we're going to change that in 3 simple steps.
And we talk to a lot of people who have a desire to move abroad, but they really just haven't figured out how to make it work yet.
It is possible to move abroad, and you don't have to win the lottery or retire early to do it. It starts with a clear, actionable plan.
And in this video, we'll walk you through the 3 steps that we took to fund our own move abroad. Set a goal, make a plan, and take action. And we'll share 3 flexible income streams that can help you actually finance your move abroad. And the last one is really our favorite, so you're going to want to stick around till the end.
And by the way, even if you're not looking to make a full-time move, this plan can still help you. Maybe you're thinking about slow travel or traveling certain parts of the year, or maybe even taking a sabbatical. You may not need visa or a residency, but you will need to plan for travel and lifestyle costs, and flexible income streams are a great way to do that.
So whether you're relocating or traveling part-time or even just testing the water, these are strategies that can help you fund your move.
Now, when you're planning a move abroad, there's 3 key numbers that you'll want to know. Number 1 is your qualification number. Every country has a different number that you need in income and savings in order to qualify for a visa. The second one is your lifestyle number, how much money that you'll need to live the life that you want to live abroad. And the third one is your moving number. Even if you're moving to a country with a lower cost of living, moving costs can add up. So these are 3 numbers that you'll want to start with.
That's right, but there are other things to consider like taxes or investments or healthcare. But these 3 numbers really help to get you started down this path.
So let's start with your qualification number. As we said, every country is going to have different qualifications or minimums that you need to meet for income and savings in order to qualify for a visa. And by the way, that also varies depending on the type of visa that you apply for.
So for example, here in Portugal, if you were to come to Portugal on a D7 visa, which is the type of visa that we came on, it requires that you have 870 euros in passive income per month, plus 10,440 euros in a Portuguese bank savings account. Now, of course, if you're coming with dependents, that number increases.
By the way, if you're thinking about a move to Portugal, I want to let you know that we have a completely free 10-day email mini course that covers all kinds of common questions about moving to Portugal, things like visas, healthcare, language, renting, or buying. Again, it's completely free. We'll leave a link in the description below.
So that's your qualifying number, and your qualifying number gets you in the door, but it's really the lifestyle number that will determine how comfortable you are living in your new location.
That's right. You might qualify with a minimum of 870 euros per month in passive income, but if the lifestyle that you envision is renting a 2-bedroom in Lisbon and going out to dinner a few nights a week and traveling on weekends, you'll need more than that.
So do a little research on real estate using a site like idealista.pt, as well as a cost of living comparison that you can get from Expatistan. Make sure that your lifestyle goals and your budget are aligned.
Now, next is the moving number. This is a big one, and it is the one that is most commonly overlooked. Even if you're moving to a country that has a much lower cost of living, the moving costs can really add up.
Yeah, that's right. Flight scouting trips, pet relocation, storage, shipping, or replacing things if you decide not to ship, all of it altogether, suddenly it becomes very expensive.
Now, we did a whole video about the cost of moving to Portugal, and we'll leave a link above. But the bottom line is this: you're going to want to have a clear number and budget for the move.
So now that you know your qualifying number, you know your lifestyle number, and you know your moving number, it's time to go to the next step, which is to make a plan.
Now that you have these 3 numbers in place, it's time to just sit down and ask, where am I now? Where do I need to be? And how do I bridge that gap?
And remember, this isn't always about the level of income that you have. Sometimes it's about the type of income that you have.
That's right. You might make a phenomenal salary and have a great job in the US or your home country, but it's not a job that you can actually do remote. And so in that case, it's how do I build the type of income that's going to give me the ability to move abroad?
And that's why we talk about flexible income. This is the kind of income that you can earn from anywhere in the world.
So let's talk through the 3 types of flexible income. And again, the last one is our favorite because absolutely anyone can start today.
So the first one is remote work, and that is really the most straightforward way to earn income from anywhere. We both work for a US company and we work remotely, and we have a full video on how you can find remote work over 50.
Now there are some pros to remote work. Obviously, it's a stable income. You may have a job that comes with benefits, and you don't have to start all over with your career in order to move abroad.
Well, there are some cons with remote work. The first is that not every job can be done remotely, and not every company, even if you have a remote job, not every company will allow you to work remotely. So that's the first con. The second is, let's say you do want to move anyway and you want to find a remote job. That can take some time to find a remote job. And finally, if you do get a remote job and you end up losing that job, because it can take some time, you may find yourself in an employment gap for a while you're looking for a new remote job.
Now, if you don't have a remote job right now, it might take some time to find one. We know of one woman who it took her 6 months to find a remote job, but she finally did it and now she travels full time. So it is possible, but it may take a little bit of patience to find that job that's going to enable you to move abroad. So we think about each of these with kind of a flexible income score of 1 to 10. So what would you give a remote job on a scale of 1 to 10 for a flexible income score?
Well, I think so much of it depends on the remote work and how much you like the remote work. Like for me, the score would be a 10 because I like my job. I like working for the company that we work for, and being able to do that from here and being able to do it remotely has just been fantastic. Now, I understand that not everybody has that same experience, and remote work is so dependent on the job of the employer that you're working for that could change the score for each person. What about you? What do you think?
Well, I do think I would give it about an 8 out of 10. I do think it's a really great option, but I would say that if you are somebody who wants some more time freedom, you may be working a set schedule on US hours, and depending on where you are in the world, that may or may not work for you. That's not a big deal for us. I know sometimes Matt has to do a board meeting at 1 a.m., but that's part of it and we're happy to do it. But if it is important to you just to have more time freedom, that's the only reason I wouldn't give this a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Now, the next option that we want to talk about is real estate. Obviously, you can buy real estate, but we want to make this really easy. So for this video, we're really referring to renting out property that you already own on a long or short-term basis.
But we know of couples who have a home back in the US that they decided to rent out while they moved, and it helped to fund their move. But they ended up moving back after a year. In some instances it was planned, but in other instances they just didn't like where they ended up, and so they wanted to go back to the US. And having a place that they could go back just made it so much easier for them.
This is one of the ways that we funded our move abroad. We have rentals back in the US as well as here in Portugal.
Well, there are several pros around doing this strategy of renting out your home back in the US. The first is that it retains a home base for you. So to the extent that you want to feel the security of having some place to go back to, you always have that. The second is that renters help pay your mortgage and maintenance expenses. And the third is that there's a possibility for actually having positive cash flow by renting out your real estate property.
So there are some cons. The big one that we experienced is you have to have a really solid management team. Fortunately, we have a good one now, but it wasn't always the case. And this is so important if you're living overseas. The next one is expenses. There are maintenance and repair costs that come up, management fees that can cut into your profit margins. And the third one is risk. Maybe you'll have vacancies, or if you're renting out on a short-term basis, maybe laws in the area change. There is more risk with this option.
Of course, not everyone owns real estate or wants to be a landlord. And so if this doesn't describe you, just hang on a moment, because there is something that anyone can start. So Don, what would you give real estate as flexible income?
I would give it, even though there's risk and even though there's problems, I would still, I'm going to give this a 9.9 out of 10. I just really love real estate as an investment. I love the equity that you can build, and also the fact that we have a home that we can go back to. I think that there's a lot of pros to this, even with all the problems. What about you?
Yeah, well, I would probably bring it down just a little bit for me. And part of that is there is this risk, and you're a long way away from home. So for example, we received a text a few months ago from a neighbor of our rental place in the United States who said, "I think you have a big leak in your home because there's water pouring down the driveway." And of course, we're thousands of miles away. And it's not like we can run over there and figure out what's going on. We had to call our property management team. They had to arrange to come out and take a look at it and figure it out. But that whole time, we sort of felt like we were out of control for this situation. And that part's a little disquieting, I'll say. It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, we also had the bird that crawled into the vent and died. And yeah, we've had some adventures.
We've had some adventures, that's right. But in general, we think real estate is a really solid investment in any case. And this has really been helpful to fund our move here to Portugal.
So online business is absolutely hands down our favorite way to fund a move abroad. This is something that anyone can start, and you can start small using what you already know.
There are hundreds of different ways to approach online businesses. So whether it's coaching or consulting or content creation or affiliate marketing or digital products or anything like that, it is so flexible and there's so many options for you.
And you don't have to be techie and you don't have to be an influencer to get started. If you have any kind of professional expertise or life experience or interests or hobbies, you have everything you need to get started.
And that is why we created the Freedom Skills Workbook. It helps you to identify the skills that you have that are unique in the marketplace that you could actually turn into income earning potential. It's totally free and the link is in the description below.
Now, there are a lot of pros to running an online business. First of all, it's low risk and low cost to start. You can automate it and scale it. And there are tons and tons of free resources to learn anything you need to know about running an online business.
So let me give you an example of how you can turn an area of expertise or perhaps just an interest or a hobby into income for you to fund your move. So if you are a music teacher or proficient at playing a musical instrument or instruments, there are many ways that you could turn this into income for you. So the first would be that you could give musical lessons over Zoom. We've seen people do that are very successful at doing that. The second is that you could create a course. So I play the guitar, and so maybe a course about music theory or a course on how you can learn or improve your soloing techniques. Those would be courses that would be absolute great courses for me as a guitar player, but for your instrument, it could be anything. The third is that you could start a YouTube channel, or you could give short, brief lessons on Instagram or TikTok and create a following, and then you're able to monetize that. You can also create sheet music and sell that sheet music online, as well as you could build a membership, and maybe this is a membership around whether it's scheduled lessons or whether it's lesson plans or whether it's music practice plans or things like that. You could create a membership and then charge a monthly fee to people to be part of that membership. All of those things are great ways to monetize your expertise.
And the best part is that you can start this while you're still working at your job. So let's say that you're planning to move abroad, 6 months, a year, or 2 years down the road. This is the perfect time to start an online business where you can continue to earn that income and revenue when you move abroad.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, absolutely the smartest time to start this is before you move so that you've got that income going. Now, let's make it clear, this is not passive income. You're building courses or you're giving lessons or you're consulting or coaching. All of those things are things that take some time, certainly, and some management over time. However, because of the way you're doing it, it is much more scalable than if you were doing it in person.
That's right. If you create a digital product, you can sell it to one person or you can sell it to 100 people, and it's the same amount of time to create and launch that product. If you create YouTube videos, every YouTube video that you add to your library is something that can generate income for you. For example, we have 2 videos that we published more than 6 months ago that generate 80% of our revenue, and we don't do anything to promote those videos.
Of all the flexible income options that we've talked about, starting an online business has by far the highest upside and the lowest barrier to entry. So Dawn, what would your flexible income score be for online businesses?
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give this one 1,000. There are so many positives and so many pros to using this approach to build the income that you need to move abroad. But there's also so many different ways to do it that you can find that personalized idea that fits the amount of time that you want to work, where you want to work, how you want to work, how much money you want to make. This is completely flexible. And the fact that there are so many online businesses that you can start start using what you already have with a computer and an internet connection and maybe $100. I just think that this is phenomenal, and we just highly recommend this, not only to fund your move abroad, but really it's a lot of fun to be involved in something that you love to do once you have made the move. What about you?
Well, I'm not sure I'd give it 1,000, but certainly a 10 plus for this. I think one of the things that limits the way that we think about online business is our own imagination. The reality is that there are so many ways that you can monetize this. The interest or the expertise that you have right now that can help fund your move, which is why we're excited about this Freedom Skills Workbook that helps you identify the ways that you can turn that expertise that you have or that interest that you have into income.
That's right. We do talk to so many people who are successful, accomplished, smart people who say to us, you know, that sounds good, but I just don't know that I have anything to share. And that's why we created that Freedom Skills Workbook, because it's so easy for us to say, oh my gosh, there's so much that you have that people would love to learn. And so it's just kind of helping you identify that thing that you're passionate about and that somebody would pay for, so that you can monetize that and start building those flexible income streams and live anywhere in the world. So now let's bring it all together. If you want to move abroad, you want to get clear on 3 numbers: your qualification number, your lifestyle number, and your moving number.
Well, the next step then is to make a plan. You figure out where you are now, where you want to be, and the income that you need in order to bridge that gap.
And finally, take action. Explore flexible income streams, especially online business, that align with your interests, your goals, and the kind of lifestyle that you want to build.
If you found this helpful, check out our free Freedom Skills Workbook and our free Moving to Portugal mini course, and we'll leave a link in the description below.
Now, by the way, these are only 3 ways to fund a move abroad, but they are not the only ways. We talk to so many people who are finding creative ways to make this work. So if that's you, we'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Also, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us with the algorithm.
And if you want to know more about our experiences of living in Portugal after being here a year, watch this next video.